Hi, and welcome to the Eczema Podcast, where you'll learn tips, products, and natural eczema remedies from Abby, registered holistic nutritionist and founder of PrimePhysiqueNutrition.com. Stay tuned as she invites experts in the field. Here's your host of the Eczema Podcast, Abby.
So hey guys, welcome to the Eczema Podcast. This is episode 5, and today I'm here with my guest, Jennifer Hall. And I'm super excited about her story today because she's been through a lot. She's an eczema survivor. She's been through topical steroid withdrawal, and she's also a Hodgkin's lymphoma survivor. So she's been through a lot. She's used steroids for 26 years, and she's currently in her 3rd year of withdrawal. She's seen incredible healing, which is great, and she's inspired to become a health coach now to help other people. So here's my guest, Jennifer.
Hello, everybody.
I'm glad to have you on the show.
Thanks, Abby, for the opportunity. This is pretty awesome.
My pleasure. So why don't we start by telling us a little bit about yourself and your story, your background. I know you've been through a lot. It's pretty rare to find someone who's been through, eczema, topical steroid withdrawal, but also cancer, and you've survived all of it, and your skin is looking great right now.
Thank you so much. Yeah, it's been pretty rough, but I will start from the beginning. When I was born, my mother, she wasn't able to breastfeed me. She got an infection just upon giving birth. And I think that had a pretty, it's a influence to why I got eczema, because it was in my 10-month year, at 10 months old, they had diagnosed me with eczema. And from that point on, I started using steroids. Although it was just, it may have been a small amount, in the potency, I hadn't really stopped for the full 26 years. It would be kind of like off and on, different kinds of steroidal creams, but there wasn't really any time in between that there would be a significant amount of time of me stopping it. So just from that alone, my body, my immune system was weakened, my skin color actually started to change, all these different things that was going on. And I think the tipping point happened after I graduated from college. I was about 22 years old. And in my 23rd year, I had been diagnosed with Hodgkin's lymphoma. So at this point, my skin was just doing really bad. Like it was the texture had changed, the color had changed, and I didn't know any better. I didn't know why this was happening. I just kept going to the doctor, and just kept getting the creams because that's all that I could do. That's all that I thought, would help. And of course, the doctors, they tell you, eczema is not curable, which is so disheartening, but they tell you that, and they, continue to give you medication and creams. And even within that time, besides using the topical steroids, I had also had injections of their steroids in my feet and in my hands. And, it cleared it up really quickly, but just the effects of that now I'm, experiencing now. So in my 23rd year, I was diagnosed with Hodgkin's lymphoma, and I feel like, in my gut, that the steroid use from all of those years had something to do with it, because Hodgkin's lymphoma is a blood cancer, and these creams, they not only just sit on the top of your skin, but they go, into your system, into your blood system, and, it can have terrible effects. So in my 23rd year, I was diagnosed. I had, it was 6 months of chemo. It was 12 rounds of it. So it was twice a month. And then afterwards, my body was just trying to recuperate,
So your eczema flared up when you were going through the chemotherapy as well?
Yeah, my eczema was just, it was really, I don't know, it was odd. It was really dry, and it was just like, I don't like. I mean, my immune system was already weakened because of the chemo, and my skin just wasn't. It just had no life to it, And of course, I was just continuing to put on the creams, and there were many times I also had infections during the chemo, so I would be hospitalized and just,
scary.
Yeah, just the antibiotics from that alone, was another thing in my body. So from that point, after the chemotherapy, my skin was just really fragile, and I just continued to use, the same things. And it took me a little while to really research and figure out a healthier way to heal my eczema. And I found out, that I shouldn't be using the creams and that I was actually addicted to the creams. So from that point, my 26th year, I stopped the creams completely. And, I prepared myself. I did research and I learned, the detoxification processes that will happen, and to not be, completely overwhelmed and scared when they do, because they can be really gnarly and really, insane. And so, I just continued to just, research and just teach myself what was happening to my body, and just continuing to tell myself this is the best thing that I could be doing for my body, as, as crazy as it was.
Yeah, sure. So when was the turning point for you? When was, the point where you realized that you knew that topical steroids were bad for you, and you completely changed your diets, and you included supplements and a complete lifestyle change?
It was when I came across this woman's site. Her name is Dania, and she's pretty amazing. She had a steroid addiction for about 15 years, along with Chinese medicine and like some other just random, creams and like anything to treat, the eczema, to kind of like cover up the symptoms. And her website was just a wealth of knowledge, and it had so much information just about, a natural way of healing, and the information about, your gut and, detoxification and all these things just made so much sense. And so I just, even before I had got to her site, I started to eliminating things in my diet, red meat and pork and dairy especially. And, when I just came to her site, it just like a light bulb went off. And
I love her site too. It helped me too during my flare-up.
Yeah, it's like I just realized this is what I need to do. And just seeing her transformation, her before and after photos, I was like, okay, this is what I got to do. And getting in contact with her, and she's amazing, coaching people, through their eczema, and she's just been wonderful. So, that just made it click for me, and I took the plunge and and have been going through, the topical steroid withdrawal since.
And just for my listeners out there, her name is Dania. She has a website. I believe it's called Natural Eczema Healing, if I'm correct. Or natural-eczema-healing.com, in case you want to check it out.
Yeah, you probably like put the information.
Yeah, I'll put it down below in my YouTube channel, as well as in my blog post as well.
Yeah, and she's been so inspiring that this is what I want to do. I want to help other people too and coach them through this, because this is awful. It's an awful process, and some people don't know the side effects of the the steroidal creams.
Yeah.
So
it's very painful for people going through it. But why don't you also tell us about specifically what you changed, like your diet, and also maybe the supplements you started taking?
Okay, so I stopped dairy, which was most important. I think a lot of people, suffering with eczema should stop dairy. And just my feelings on dairy anyways is kind of like, it's not good for your gut. It has, a lot of like issues with that. And I stopped red meat, as well as chicken, and I eat fish occasionally, and sometimes I eat eggs, but it's mainly like an alkaline acid balance kind of diet, where I'm eating a lot of alkaline foods, so a lot of fruits and veggies, and some nuts and seeds, and healthy fats like avocados and whatnot, and I just keep myself hydrated. And so it's I like to say I'm like a pseudo vegan in a way. I still eat fish and eggs,
I like the recipes and the photos that you post on your blog of what you eat.
Yeah, thank you. I love food. I'm like a foodie, I guess. And
I'm a huge foodie too. I love food.
So that's like pretty much how my diet is. And it wasn't that hard of a change for me, because I had, prior I had already been eliminating things, and I just like cooking and like learning about food so much that, living this way has been great for me. And the supplements that I take are probiotics, which I think are very important. not just for eczema sufferers, but for everyone really, you know.
Did you actually notice a difference after you started taking probiotics?
Yes, I definitely did. I mean, along with changing my diet and taking the probiotics as well as digestive enzymes, my digestive system was like amazing. And during, this whole time, like I wouldn't have the best digestive health, and so where it was something that I just felt like, oh, this is normal, this is a normal thing to be feeling this way. But yeah, after taking it, I started to feel so much better. And I noticed that like, okay, I'm feeling so much better internally. I know this is helping my skin. And being that it's, the whole detoxification process, the probiotics and the enzymes really help with that. So along with that, I've been taking blue-green algae, which is very nourishing and like has antioxidants and, really good for your skin. And I've also been taking primrose oil and borage oil.
Oh, that helps a lot too.
Yeah. And along with that too, like I'll use hemp seeds and hemp seed oil, like flax oil, chia seeds, just really like healthy fats, to nourish the skin.
That's great. I love what you're taking. That's a lot of good stuff for my listeners who probably, for those who don't know much about supplements, the ones that you mentioned will definitely help. There's good fats, and it's also the blue-green algae that will help restore the skin as well.
Yeah, for sure. Seaweeds are pretty amazing. Everyone should like get up on seaweed.
Yeah. What about for diet? Because I've heard a lot of debate in the topical steroid withdrawal community about how diet doesn't actually make a difference when you're going through the withdrawal. What about you and your experiences?
Well, the thing with that is I think that we shouldn't just think about, stopping the steroids. I think that, yes, you have to stop the steroids, but you have to think about how did you get the eczema in the first place? Like for me, I think, as a baby, not having, the breast milk and then using formula, probably had something to do with it. And also if I didn't use those creams at 10 months old, I'm sure that, my parents would have found other ways maybe to, to help me out to go through it. But yeah, I think you have to get down to the beginning issue of how did you get it? And it's usually gut health related. So, just to clean up your gut, with fermented foods and healthy alkalinizing foods, probiotics, all these different things. And, to stop the wheat, especially too, and the dairy, that will help to heal. I think it's like, because you don't see the change instantly, when you change your diet, I guess, on your skin, because you're also going through withdrawal, your body is pushing out, the toxins and all these other things. And so it's like, I don't know, I guess people stop, their diet and they quit because they don't see it instant change. But I think that it's definitely helped. I mean, right now my skin is pretty amazing from my ankles up. It's just my feet that I'm dealing with now. And yeah.
And I know you mentioned that your skin has 90% cleared up, which is amazing.
Yeah. It's just a few spots on my feet that have, I don't know, I'm just nursing them to health. I'm just, trying to get them to be, completely calmed down to where I can actually put on shoes and put on socks and get out and about. But the rest of my body is like the natural oils are coming back. I'm not itchy, really. Like I can take a shower and come out and not even really have to put any emollient on, although I still do. Mm-hmm. But yes, I'm seeing the changes, and I feel like, definitely having my diet implemented like that for this whole time has definitely helped.
So how long did it actually take you to start seeing results after you changed your diet and your lifestyle, once you stopped the topical steroids?
Well, when I stopped the topical steroids, it was in March of 2012, and it took a few months for it to be full blown. So it was June in 2012 where my skin was the worst. And the photos on my blog, I have it concentrated on my feet because I didn't know what was going on. And I sent the picture to my health coach and I was like, what is this? She was like, no, that's normal. This is the process. And the rest of my body was, was going through its processes, but nothing as terrible as my feet. So I didn't have any photos of that. But yeah, once I stopped that, it was from June, and then it was August, my feet started to clear up. And yeah, so that time after August into the fall and winter, I had a break. where, my skin was calm and it was, I was living normally.
Wow.
Came the spring and summer, I just went through another flare. And that's how it's kind of been consistently for these past couple of years. And so March coming 2015 will be my third year of topical steroid withdrawal free.
It sounds like your healing took place pretty fast, though.
Yeah.
Which is pretty incredible, because people who usually go through topical steroid withdrawal usually take a really long time. Usually, I've heard people taking, 15 months or longer.
You mean 15 months of just flaring?
Yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah, I've heard a lot of people who take that long.
Yeah, I mean, right now, this is the longest that I've been down and out, from May until now, which is December. But like I said, it's just on my feet.
Oh, okay.
So I think, well, maybe that's the diet and the supplements, because I was, really consistent with it within those few months. And when it flared up in June, I mean, I was just resting as much as I possibly could and really just trying to take care of my body.
Yeah. My thinking is that when people are going through the topical steroid withdrawal, if they continue to eat foods that are irritating their body and their immune system, then it prolongs the flaring, even though they might not see a difference in the short term.
Yeah, because it's all internal. And I mean, you want to feed yourself things that are soothing and calming to your body and going to give you nourishment, not to irritate. Exactly what you're saying, like acidic foods. That's really irritating. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Do you have any last words of advice for any of our viewers, listeners who are going through it and who might need some advice on how to help their eczema get better?
Gosh, I mean, all I can say is just, you guys are super strong. My family and my friends, they tell me that all the time, when I get down and depressed sometimes, because that will happen. I'm not going to lie. There's times when this tests your patience. Just continue to remember that you're super strong and that you're doing this so that you can have the best health of your life. You have to think about it it may seem like it's taking really long, but you really think about the grand scheme of things. This is a fraction of your life, this is going to be 3 years for me. It's a fraction of my life that I'm taking the time to heal and to get my body, at the best health that it can be. And just to, do your research, and, just find the foods that will heal you, that will take care of you, and, just be good to your body. Try to rest as much as you can. Try to not be stressed out, try to not focus so hard on what's going on the top of your skin, and just know that, all of this pain and, everything that you're going through will be for your benefit in the end. I feel like I want to live until I'm 90 something years old, because I'm just so passionate about, food and healing through food. And after just going through everything that I've gone through, I don't want to put any more, medical drugs in my body. Even through this process, I haven't taken aspirin, I haven't taken any pain medication, just because I'm so anti-drug, I'm just trying to heal with food and just love and rest.
Your story is amazing. It's awesome how you've beat cancer, you've beat eczema and the topical steroid withdrawal. Do you have a website or a contact that people can reach you at if they want more information or to connect with you?
I do. You guys can check me out at eczemaholichealing.wordpress.com. And if you want to send me an email, you can send it to eczema.holistic.healing@gmail.com. And I'll be happy to hit you up and chat with you. And just come on and check out my blog and see all the cool stuff that I have on there, all the good information.
And Jennifer also does coaching. So if you're looking for a coach who will guide you in your eczema journey, feel free to reach out to her. And she's a wealth of knowledge.
Thank you so much, Abby. You are just a ray of sunshine. I'm so glad that I've got a chance to meet you.
Me too. Thanks so much. Take care.
All right. Bye.
Thanks for listening to the Eczema Podcast, and stay tuned for our next episode. If you like what you just heard, we hope you'll pass it along to your friends and colleagues. Visit primephysiquenutrition.com for more articles and tips. Thanks for listening.